Get ready for the dictation on the count of 3, 2, 1, start. Growing and balancing India-Russia trade ties dominated the agenda of Russian Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov's India visit and the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological, and Cultural Cooperation meet he chaired with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. They hailed the surge in bilateral trade up by 2.6 times in the past year and at about $45 billion, surpassing the 2025 target. Both sides noted the problem of trade imbalance, calling for more market access and the use of national currencies to circumvent sanctions. Mr. Manturov suggested that Indian companies could increase exports in road construction and pharmaceuticals. Mr. Jaishankar said that Indian businesses should guard against over-compliance when it comes to increasing trade with Russia due to concerns over Western sanctions. They also referred to progress in negotiations for an FTA between India and the Eurasian Economic Union that was launched in 2017. Its signing could catapult trade, which has been the laggard in bilateral ties dominated by defense, nuclear, and space cooperation, while the impetus in trade and the effort to balance imports and exports with an important partner, Russia, are welcome. It is hard to ignore the circumstances surrounding these developments. Since Russia's war in Ukraine began last year and Western sanctions drastically cut Russian exports, Moscow has turned increasingly to India and other countries, including China, that have not joined the sanctions to export resources. India's oil imports from Russia, a negligible 0.2%, have jumped since the war to a massive 28% of its total oil intake, contributing to trade as well as a growing deficit. While the Ukraine foreign minister's accusation that India has blood on its hands by buying Russian oil is overstating the case, the impression that New Delhi is benefiting from the war is gaining traction in Western countries, which must be noted, especially as Mr. Modi will soon visit Japan, Australia, the US, and France, and also welcome Mr. Putin for the SCO summit in Delhi in July. Mr. Jaishankar's contention that India-Russia ties are among the steadiest of the major relationships of the world is well made, especially at a time of global turmoil and shifting alliances, and provides the basis for the warm welcome to Mr. Manturov. What is harder to explain is that no public comment was made by any Indian leader during any of Mr. Manturov's meetings in Delhi about the original reason for the current turmoil and its global economic impact, Moscow's decision to launch attacks on its neighbor, and the bombing of civilians that has continued for over a year. With the Congress Party joining the chorus for an updated caste census, there seems to be an emerging consensus among the political opposition on the need for this exercise. While the parties committed to reservations in the northern belt, the Samajwadi Party and the Rashtriya Janata Dal in particular have made this demand as a reaction to the expansion of reservation benefits to economically weaker sections among forward castes using income criteria, and Congress's pivot towards supporting this stems from the party's new political emphasis on expanding its support base with the Mandal Commission report of 1980 that was based on caste consensus data of 1931 still remaining the basis of identifying backwardness and determining the extent of reservation to the other backward classes. The need for a comprehensive consensus that provides data to support or evaluate existing reservation quotas or to assess demands for them remains pertinent. Such a diligent exercise would also serve a legal imperative, allowing the government to answer the Supreme Court's call for quantifiable data. But counting castes is not easy. An inherent weakness is evident in how the government described the socio-economic and caste census in 2011 as being riddled with infirmities that made the data collected unusable. Data here recorded 46 lakh different castes, subcastes, caste, clan, surnames, which required adequate parsing before being used for proper enumeration. The survey's hurried conduct without utilizing the census commissioners and the office of the registrar general properly also rendered it problematic. A more thoroughgoing exercise would entail an adequate consolidation of caste subcaste names into social groups based on synonymity and equivalence of the self-identified group names revealed by respondents in the census, marking these groups against the OBC scheduled castes, scheduled tribes lists for each state would build a useful database which can be utilized in the decennial census. The data obtained this way can be used to parse aggregated socio-economic information for these groups, but with the government having postponed the long-delayed 2021 census and not acquiescing to the demand of including caste counts, questions remain whether an effective caste census is possible. There is, of course, the risk of reification of caste identities, even as the constitutional order seeks to build a casteless society. But with caste-based identification still predominant, such a census seems politically imperative, even if morally flawed, for the purpose of addressing socio-economic inequities through facile reservation quotas that confer income benefits and a degree of social justice without actually advancing the cause of a truly casteless society.